dimorphism is basically the differences between male and female. So I'm gonna give you an example. Over here I've got a male bird, the one who's fully colorful, and there's this boring looking bird that is the female. They're the same species, the only difference is the sex. Now, the male has such beautiful colors to attract the female. Now, the difference between these two is dimorphism. And male dimorphism in the human species is basically having facial hair, a low voice pitch, body size and shape. So basically having a bigger body, a bigger bone structure, having more muscle mass, having a penis, and there are differences in the way we act. And I believe that's one of the most important dimorphic trait that we have. This is basically the influence of testosterone on your body, on your mind. But nowadays, you look at the average man, I mean, this is a young guy, but even the older guys, the dad, maybe your dad, has bitch titties, he's drinking beer, destroying his hormonal health. Well, what does that lead to? Poor facial hair. So basically the opposite of having a lot of facial hair. It leads to a high voice pitch, a weak body. I mean, we can see that with the bitch titties, with the gyno. We see poor muscle mass and we see feminine behaviors, basically being in your emotions and not being driven by a purpose. I've got to ask you, is that what you want? Because if it's not, if what you want is those traits, those masculine gene expression, well, this video is for you because I'm gonna show you exactly how to achieve that. So let's get to work. There is two things you need to focus on. Now, this is free testosterone and androgen sensitivity. You could have all the testosterone in the world, but if your androgen receptors are not sensitive enough, it's not gonna do anything. You're not gonna express masculine genes. So how can you increase testosterone and androgen sensitivity? Because the goal is to increase both of those. Well, I've got 4 ways to do that. Now, I did intense research to figure out what were the best ways. I kind of put them in order of which ones I believe is the most important one, at least the ones backed with the most amount of data, would be the first one. Now, testosterone and androgens, androgen receptors, androgen sensitivity is all linked. Usually when you increase testosterone, except in rare cases, you also increase androgen receptors. And that's exactly right for the first way to increase testosterone and androgen sensitivity, and it is to have a high fat diet, a high cholesterol diet. Now, cholesterol has a bad rep, but in this study, not only do we see a significant increase in testosterone after 11 weeks on this diet, but we also see that only the good cholesterol was affected. This means that there was no decrease in health. As a matter of fact, over here I think it's written, the bad cholesterol was not affected at all by this diet. And this diet is a 70% fat diet and a only 5% carb diet. So a low carb, high fat diet. Now they were probably eating so much cholesterol during the span of those 11 weeks and nothing happened to their health. This means that cholesterol has been getting a bad rep because of the sugar industry, making it seem bad, but as a matter of fact, it is the sugar, the Western diet, that actually increases the bad levels of cholesterol. So over here we also see a decrease in hormonal health, in testosterone, after adopting the Western diet, because there were 2 groups, the group with the Western diet and the group with the high fat diet. How can you achieve high fat diet? Eat more eggs, more fattier meat. You can also add more olive oil to your meals, more butter. Don't be scared of butter. Avocados, stuff like that, right? Nuts, also great. So try to aim for a high fat diet. And I believe eggs is the best food to increase your testosterone, because in only 2 eggs, you already have more than the limit of cholesterol that is recommended. And as we see in this study and in many other future studies to come, cholesterol, good cholesterol, does not affect your health. So don't be scared of eating eggs. Now, the second way to actually increase androgen sensitivity and testosterone is by doing resistance training, by weightlifting, by going to the gym. Now, in this study, it showed, I think it's only like 3 workouts or 3 days of working out, but it showed an increase in testosterone, but also an increase in androgen receptors. And that's exactly what we want. So you should be working out at least 3 to 4 times a week. Now, I work out 5 days a week, and on the days where I don't work out, I also do sprints, because sprint has shown to also increase testosterone. So try to go sprinting here and there, go on a little run, go on walks, all good stuff for your testosterone. The third way is to avoid estrogenic. Now, this paper talks a little bit about estrogenics in plastic. Now, plastics are estrogenic. You got phthalates, BPA, BPS, those are estrogenics. And estrogenics are basically artificial estrogen. So, because now testosterone is not able to bind with the androgen receptors because there's already estrogenics, artificial estrogen bound with the androgen receptors. And on top of that, instead of expressing male gene, instead of expressing male dimorphism, what you will be expressing is exactly what we see nowadays. That's not what we want. So avoid plastic. Now, this means that instead of drinking into a plastic water bottle, aim for something that's made of glass or metal. When you store your meals in plastic containers, try to go for glass containers. They will bind to the androgen receptors. So in a way, it's lowering your androgen sensitivity. There's also your clothing. Usually your clothing is made of polyester. You know, the sports wear where it kind of feels good on the skin? Usually that stuff is polyester. So I make sure that my shirt is 100% cotton, natural stuff. There's many things you need to avoid, but honestly, avoiding storing your food in plastic so you don't ingest plastic is probably the first thing you should do. And also try to stay away from always touching plastic, because if this shirt was plastic, it's gonna touch me during the whole day. And same thing for your bed. Make sure that your bed sheets are not made of polyester, because then you're sleeping on plastic. And yes, plastic can leak through your skin. Now, the fourth way, and one of the less studied way to increase testosterone and androgen sensitivity, is semen retention. There's not that many studies on it, but I believe it is a powerful way to increase testosterone. Certainly for the guys out there who are ejaculating once every day. That's very bad for you. There's one relatively good research, a Chinese study made on men that stopped ejaculating for a whole week, that were on semen retention for a whole week. After 7 days, testosterone peaked by 145%. Now, what happens after 7 days? We don't really know. Not that many data on it, but personally, I feel that the longer I stay on semen retention, the better I feel. Now, I never went on semen retention for more than a month or so because I have wet dreams. I don't really know how to stop those. I tried, doesn't really work. So that's my longest streak in semen retention on NoFap. Always on NoFap, that's for sure. Because I believe fucking your fist probably lowers your testosterone, just the act of it. So what does this mean? This means that you should try to get on semen retention. If you're masturbating, you should lower your dose of masturbation until you stop masturbating at all. That would be the goal for you. And if you're in a relationship, like I am, stop coping. I used to cope and be like, well, I'm on NoFap, but I'm not on semen retention because I got a girl. You can be on semen retention even if you get a girl. It's gonna be much harder than the guys who are just on NoFap that don't have a girl. But trust me, if you do, I believe that it will increase your testosterone even more than the guys that are just on normal semen retention. Because your body, your biological wingman, will upregulate your testosterone because he thinks that there is a problem, that he needs to increase hormones so that you start ejaculating. Now, those are theories, but all of the other things are data. There are things that you can act upon on. Start with eating more cholesterol, eating more eggs, then make sure you go to the gym. You're probably already going to the gym. Everyone goes to the gym nowadays. If you don't, you're lacking. Avoid estrogenics, avoid plastic, avoid touching plastic. And fourth one, try to go on semen retention. Honestly, I believe there's much better benefits than simply your testosterone and your estrogen peaking. I'll make more videos on semen retention, but that's basically it for today's video. Increase masculine gene expression by increasing testosterone and androgen sensitivity, and you will get closer to your goals. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah!